Well, hello. Hi. Hi. I feel like there's part of me that's still like ah. it's um it's been a heck of a week since the last time I was able to. It's been like 2 weeks. I feel like I have missed you all so much. So last week we were not together for the Jewish New Year, the holy time of Rosh Hashanah, and that was lovely. It was really wonderful to have my synagogue, to everyone be back in the building. We meet in a beautiful historic church. The acoustics are amazing. And even though it was a little bit smaller crowd than normally we would have had, like pre-COVID, because people can still use Zoom, it was really wonderful to be all back together. And then we went right back into isolation because of Hurricane Ian. And so the thing I would ask is, as we pray for those in Puerto Rico who are still dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Fiona, and realistically they're still dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Maria 5 years ago, to pray for my state of Florida, because politically we always praying for Florida because but Fort Myers, and we would take the kids to Fort Myers every year, every other year we would go to this beautiful resort, and it's just an incredible piece of land that sticks out. It's not attached to the mainland, and so you take a bridge over to get to Fort Myers Beach. Is different from Fort Myers, and like all of that piece that is detached, and the islands, Sanibel and Marco and all the things are just decimated. And I had put a video on my Facebook page, and then I took it down because I just couldn't bear to watch. But there is a gentleman who is a Florida state representative, and his name is Daniel Unfelder. He is on Twitter. He's running for Florida Attorney General, a Democrat, and he had posted this video of the water, the storm surge coming up over palm trees, and just like second and third story high. It was a time lapsed video, and I just thought I don't want that on my Facebook page coming up to remind me, every year. It's very hard to watch. And then here in Central Florida, and we are very lucky where I am. We are up on a hill, and so we are safe. But other friends we are expecting some refugees this today or tomorrow, as the waters are continuing to rise, as things are settling. There's still flood warnings, and there are still waters that are rising as the waters are moving through rivers and streams. That areas that were not flooded are still under flood warnings for another 10 days. It's not over. And we have other friends who their entire neighborhood has flooded, and this is part of the development of Central Florida, which is really flat and has a lot of water around, where they've built these neighborhoods that are all adjacent to lakes, and they're the neighborhoods are around lakes, and the lakes are not connected to anything, and so when the water comes in and overflows the lake, there's nowhere for the water to go. So these neighborhoods that were not necessarily built in low-lying areas, but that are were built with no flood protections in mind, because they were not in flood areas. Central Florida is not really known to be a flood risk. So and all of a sudden, because they've built these lakes and they've not connected them to rivers and things that go through these lakes that have nowhere to go, and some of the larger lakes that are connected to the rivers, like St. John's and some of these larger lakes that are connected to these systems, as that water moves through, it is moving into the neighborhoods. So there are neighborhoods that are not currently flooded, or that are maybe near. Have one friend, their water came up about 6 feet They have a nature preserve behind them. The water's about 6 feet from their house. Now that may change, and other friends, the same thing. And it's what's so terrifying is that the one friend is up north of Orlando, and the other friend is in the south of Orlando, and they're both dealing with the same problems. So the crisis of Florida and our flooding is unfortunately not it's not done yet. So as you continue to pray, please pray for the people of Florida, for all over the central part, whether it's the east side, the west side, or the central part, because the damage, the aftermath is still ongoing and developing. And that is the part that, as somebody who has lived in Florida for much of my life, that is, this is a new development. We have hurricanes that come through, and we have, the damage is done, and then we start to fix it. And right now, there are many, many people who can't even do that because they're not out of danger even, a week later. So that is a very new and strange world to live in here in Florida. And so we just ask for, prayers, and, I know that all things work together for a higher purpose. All things work together for the development of humanity, even if it's not for our personal, how does this benefit me personally? Sometimes it's really hard to answer that question until we're, really far in the rearview mirror to be able to look back. But I know that all things do work together for some good, for some higher purpose. And a lot of times, the shitty part is that those things will work together for the betterment of humanity as a whole, even if it completely sucks for us in the process. And it's so, we see that with flooding in Pakistan, and we see it with, oh my gosh, the people killed in a riot at a soccer game in India, and oh my goodness. And so we see, and we've been talking about this for several years, even pre-COVID, we've been talking about this rising energetic tide of emotion that people have, that the energy spikes and the Schumann resonance, which is an energy, a meter that measures the energy of humanity, really, that it resides in Russia, because it's in the poles and measures the energy of humans, and it's just rising and rising and rising, and it has been off the charts for years. And just watching that energy levels come up, and part of that is as people spread out, as more people are born, the population of the planet has gone up, but at the same time, the energy, and that's, don't look at that and be like, oh, it's all bad energy, because that's not what I'm saying. We have so many more people who are waking up, who are aware of something higher. I mean, so many people that are here that, if you're watching somebody like me or others like me, your energy is part of that higher vibration. And I'm sorry I didn't say hi to everybody. Hello. But this is part of the energy that is rising for all of us. And then you have the negative energy. And I still firmly believe that it's not like this, that the people who are waking up to something bigger and more, and just more, that there's some connection, that things are not random, that we are not all just rowing our own boat. There are so many more people that are waking up, and so our vibration goes up and goes up and goes up. And then we have the people who are freaking out because they're like, wait a minute, get out of my boat. And they don't want to row another person's boat because they don't know where you're going, and they get nervous. And so we have this idea that, these people who don't want to wake up, the people who are holding on to the status quo, the people who vote against, hurricane relief, whether it's in New York or Puerto Rico or Florida, they hold on to the status quo, and they're not willing to change. And those people are a growing minority, but those people are very loud. And so we all row the boat. Whether it's one boat or a whole bunch of boats tied together. When I volunteer at Blue Springs State Park, some of you know that I do this to protect the manatees when there's swimmers and kayakers in the water where the manatees live, and we protect the manatees. One of the things I see so often is families all in their own inner tube, floating down the stream, but their tubes are all tied together. They've got little ropes, and they've made this little flotilla, and that's where it is. We may all be rowing our own boat. We may be sharing a boat with another person. Some of the tubes are 2 and 3 people tubes, but we're all connected. And I see this every single time I'm in the river. We are all connected, floating down the river together. And that's really where we are. That these things that affect do not just affect me here in Florida, they affect everyone everywhere, because we are all rowing the boats together. And so this is part of why we're seeing this rising of this energy, because people are waking up to this higher connection, that we're connected to each other, that we're connected to something bigger than ourselves. But at the same time, they are also waking up to the idea that it's going to take all of us. And it's not just fixing the rainforests or getting solar panels. It's all connected. If we're going to address climate change, or we're going to address social justice, or any of the things that bind us together, it's literally all of it, because we are all connected. And it's the folks that are holding on so tight to that status quo that don't want to address this or that, or I'll address this but not that, and I don't want to deal with this or that. And those are the people who are yelling the loudest, because they're the ones who are holding on with both hands saying, no change, I don't want to have change. Meanwhile, humanity is evolving. Now, humanity's evolution is slow. And if you've heard me teach about humanity's evolution through the chakras before, you may remember that where we are right now is in the time of the throat chakra, of using our voices. And we've seen that with, Power Up and Me Too and all the different things, and the marches and all these things. But we're moving into the third eye chakra. We're seeing so many more people wake up. The thing we don't want to miss is, although not part of the major 7 chakras that people are, most commonly aware of, the thing we don't want to miss is the ear chakras. So it's so important that we remember that while we have these 7 major chakras, we have hundreds and hundreds of chakras, thousands of chakras in our bodies. Every time there's an energy intersection, it's a chakra. And so we don't want to miss out on the ear chakras. So while we are moving through this time of humanity's development, moving from the time of the voice to the time of the third eye, please God, soon. We want more people waking up. But at the same time, we don't want to skip over our ability to hear, our ability to listen to each other, whether we agree or don't agree, whether we're on the same page, same religion, same belief system, same political, whatever. Our inclination is to skip over our ability to hear. And as we've seen with the polarization that's happening in this country and in other countries, we are losing our ability to listen and our willingness to hear. And so this is one of the things that's really been brought on to me this week. It is about listening. Because from a Jewish perspective, we've had the New Year, and as we come into the month prior to the Jewish New Year, we are called to hear the sound of the shofar, which is the ram's horn, which if you haven't not heard, you can Google Mayim Bialik on YouTube. It's absolutely hilarious video of her explaining about the shofar and how it is a ram's horn is blown, and it makes the sound. We are called to listen as we prepare for the holy time in the Jewish religion. We're called to listen, to hear the sound of the shofar every day, and to hear the sound as we go through the 10 days between the Jewish New Year and the Day of Atonement, which begins tomorrow night, to listen. And so this is the thing that really comes to me, is about, don't forget to listen. And so what we're seeing right now with all the tragedy that's going on in Florida, if you know people, there are wonderful charities and organizations, and I know, One World Kitchen is on the ground in Fort Myers, and amazing organizations that are helping the people who are in need. And so what I encourage you, if you feel called to, donate time or money or something, or send supplies, to listen to your heart, to listen to your higher guidance, to what feels right for you. But mostly I would tell you to listen to each other. I would tell you to listen, and they are, I tell you, but they're telling, to listen to each other, because right now people are still in fear. And if you joined us a little bit later, welcome. One of the things we're talking about is, while the hurricane may have passed through Florida and has now blessedly gone away, the floodwater situation is still no pun intended, is very fluid. And we have friends who are watching actively on pins and needles see if the waters will shift and rise to damage their homes, people who live in places that were never expected to be impacted by floods. And so I would ask you to listen, because people, when they're dealing with grief, and it isn't just grief of the death toll from this hurricane is extremely deadly with the number of people who have perished from this hurricane, but to listen to each other, because when we're dealing with trauma, we need to be heard. People need to be heard. It isn't just needing to listen in time of grief of a death of a loved one, but trauma carries its own grief. And you don't have to live here in Florida to be experiencing the trauma. I don't live in Florida. I'm going to say that's the mailman. Hey, come on, stop. Good boy. Good boy. I feel very protected. Good boy. It's my buddy. You don't have to live here in Florida, to feel the trauma, especially those of you who are empathic. It's so easy for us to just watch the news, and I watched this video of the water literally topping palm trees. Now, to be fair, these were probably not full-grown palm trees, because you could see in the time lapse they still had their wooden supports that they were younger and they were put in, but it's still a tree. And to watch this video of this time lapse of the water and the storm surge coming in, I don't have to live in Fort Myers to feel affected by the drama, and there's no people even in the video, just to feel affected by that and feel the grief of it. And so you may be feeling grief. Others around you may be feeling grief. I mean, this is Florida. Everyone had a grandmother or something that lived here at one point. So allow yourself to listen is the encouragement that's being given. This is a time for us to listen to each other, especially in this country as we're moving towards the midterm elections, or just a month away. It's going to be a time of unsettling and a time of more tension. It can be. And so I encourage you, please self-care, take care of you, what you need to do to take care of yourself. Make that a priority. Please try to protect your energy from things that may be traumatic for you, but acknowledge the grief that whether you live in this area or not, or South Carolina, which was also impacted by this storm, or Puerto Rico, we can still feel grief. We can feel grief for the 120 plus people that were killed in a senseless riot at a soccer game. We can feel grief for so many things. And so acknowledge that, because here's the other thing. We're now in the moon of Capricorn, but we also, Mercury retrograde ended yesterday. But we know we're in the shadow time, right? Retrograde has a shadow time prior to and after for about a week to 10 days. And so it's not coincidental that we're in this time where we're rising up to, energy is rising up to the full moon, because the new moon was last week with the start of Rosh Hashanah, and we are now in the first quarter, and we're rising up to the full moon time. And at the same time, the water levels continue to rise, energy levels continue to rise, and as we are in this time of the Mercury retrograde, there are a lot of things shifting. And so we look at the calendar and we say, woo, retrograde is over, and we expect that it turns off, but we know, if you followed me for any time, you know I talk about how energy doesn't turn on or off like a switch. And so allow yourself this grace. Allow grace for others as we move through this time of the voice and the empowerment and how people are standing firm for what they believe in as we move towards the elections. It's going to still be a bumpy month, even though we're now in this time of Capricorn, into this moon of Capricorn. And I want to tell you, Capricorns, they tend to be more serious. They tend to be more studious. They want to learn things. They want to understand why and how. And they also tend to be great leaders and assertive and people that are more pensive. They're also quite practical. So if you're feeling like you can't get your feet on the ground right now because you're not a Capricorn, that is okay. But look for those traits in yourself of where you could be practical or where you could keep your feet on the ground, especially as we go forward into this new month. Now, I will tell you, as much as I was so sad to miss our time last week because of the holiday, that we will miss time again later this month because I'll be traveling. I'm spending some time in Seattle and Portland, and I'm very excited. And for those of you who also follow our dear friend Elias, I'm so overjoyed to be sharing time with him for his wedding outside of Portland later this month. And so there will be another time that we will miss being together, and I'll post more about that. And then, of course, pictures from our the wedding, because I know many of you are also familiar with Elias Patras, who is a marvelous intuitive teacher and guide and coach and psychic medium. So I'm so delighted to be able to attend his wedding out in the Pacific Northwest. So let's do some cards. I'm going to pull an animal spirit card because that's really been on my heart to pull some animal spirit cards, and then we'll move into a card reading, a collective card reading for us for the week. And then I will do some individual card readings for you as well. I know a few of you have asked, and thank you for a few of my regulars who've been pointing out to people like, hey, she'll do it at the end. So thank you so much for that. Assistance is always appreciated. So our animal spirit today is the elk. It says, stand tall and maintain your dignity no matter what, and others will treat you with the respect that you deserve. Okay, so this is the elk. And it is just a beautiful creature. I've had the privilege of seeing elk before when I was in Colorado and Montana years ago. They are beautiful and majestic creatures. They are truly amazing, but they remind us to stand tall. They remind us to stand up for what we believe in. They remind us to, they listen intently because they need to know what's going on around them, and they are often out in the dark, in the twilight time of the evening. So they are reminding us to listen. They remind us to stand tall. They remind us to keep our ears open and to stand up for what we believe in. And the elk also, because they have this broad front chest piece, they really have this idea, this image of putting their chest forward, whereas other animals, deer and moose and things, don't have quite this broad chest area, and so they really push themselves forward, and it looks like they're going like this in their power pose. And so elk remind us to stand tall. And also remind us to stay grounded, right, into the trees. And so if you haven't already today hugged a tree, I do encourage you to do that. All right, one more animal card, and that is the snow leopard. It says, take some time out of your usual life and spend it in solitude. And this again reminds us to listen. This again reminds us to pay attention to the inner voices, the higher voices, and if you need some encouragement to spend some time in your quietness, again, I encourage you, hug a tree. Hug a tree, even if you're touching the tree. Now remember, if you're going to touch a tree, use your non-dominant hand so you're receiving the beautiful energy from the tree. And then after you receive that beautiful energy from your palm chakras and your fingertip chakras, and just to receive that wisdom and the guidance, the calm, the strength, the amazingness of the tree, put your other hand on the tree and give back. Give back to the tree. Your dominant hand is your outgoing energy hand. So once you have received the tree love and the tree energy with your non-dominant hand, then really absorb that and sit in that power and the love and the gratitude. Make sure you give it back. Make sure you give it back. And really my favorite is, after I've given it back, is to put both hands on the tree and we make this circle of love. We make this circle of love energy. The tree gives, I give back. The tree gives, I give back. And we have this beautiful circuit of love energy with the tree. And don't forget to engage your feet, because if your feet are standing on the ground, on the grass, then you're being able to do that circuit going this way as well. So the energy is coming in from above and flushing out what doesn't serve you to Mother Earth, and coming in from above and flushing out to Mother Earth. And so you have this amazing energy shift where energy is going this way and going this way at the same time. Just incredible. So highly recommend. Highly recommend. All right, let's grab some cards for, and we're going to stick with Colette Baron Reed's Wisdom of the Oracle deck. I'll also tell you, since I think I hadn't had the opportunity to tell you that I had been in Buffalo with, I think I had told you last time we were together 2 weeks ago, with an amazing group of mediums, and to be in a room of 20 other mediums that are highly gifted and grounded and centered and learning and pushing each other to be better is just a profound experience. So, all right, you card questioners, hold up, hold up, hold up. We're going to have all the cards. We're going to do a few cards for the collective, And then, I'll always tell you, hold up, you all, hold up. I will always tell you now, but no, that wasn't it. So we're going to do a few cards for the collective, and then I'll say the individual cards. Thank you, Chris. Then I'll say, if you want a card reading, now's the time. Now is not the time, but give me a few minutes and we'll do some collective cards, and then we'll tune in for some individual cards. All right, so we're going to grab onto, sorry, my Instagram fell down. Sorry, Instagram. It always scares the heck out of me when it does that. Sorry, Instagram. Always scares the heck out of me. Okay, sorry. All right, so we have to be fair. And so this is so interesting because you have this balance that's going on. And this is this reminder to not judge. This is a reminder to listen. What is going on? Can you see both sides of the story? Can you see a path for compromise? Can you be a person that brings light to the center? Because if you look, here's a little volcano that's exploding, but here's the beautiful white clouds. They're not dark and black clouds. It's white clouds, and it almost looks like, the dark clouds are being pushed out to the side so that people are being reminded that there is a path to goodness if we go up, we go to the light, and we stay connected to our higher guidance. And this is card 38. So 8 and 3 is 9, 10, 11. And so that's a holy number, right? 11 is the angel numbers. And so we want to remember, release our prejudices, release our preconceived ideas. And this brings us back to, hang on, I've muted Instagram. Well, I think I have them. Okay. And this brings us back to this reminder to listen, the reminder to listen, okay? So to be fair, this is the reminder to listen, and we talked about that. And so the next card is community. This is card 8, and this is so important that we are not alone. And this is really goes to in connection with what we talked about before, that you don't have to be in Florida, or you don't have to be in Fort Myers or wherever to feel part of that community, to feel the pain, or to want to be part of helping or supporting, or to just pray and send angels. And right now I would say the best thing to do, if you're not sending some sort of financial or material contribution, is really to ask for the angels to put this light of protection, this bubble of protection around the homes that are not flooded, that are still in danger, to put their bubble and their barrier of protection around the homes that are safe now, that they should remain that way. Right? So this is a reminder that we're part of the community. This is exactly what we talked about before, that the boats are all tied together. Our floats are all tied together as we go down the springs. We are all connected. We are all part of the community. Okay, and then to remind ourselves, this is card number 6, this is not for you. To remind yourself, though we talked about empaths and protecting yourself and not subjecting yourself to the videos or the news footage or the whatever that's going to just deteriorate you and make you feel small, but to remind yourself to not put blinders on. We don't want to ignore what's happening, but we want to stay in our lane. So we don't put on blinders. We stay in our lane, right? It's like if you've ever watched little kids bowling, they put these bumpers in the gutters so that the kids can bowl without having every ball be a gutter ball. So they stay in their lane. They're not floating all over. They're not like shortening the lane. They're not making it narrower. They're giving the kids every opportunity to participate and to bowl, but they're putting up these bumpers to remind them to stay in their lane. And that's where we are when we have this card, not for you, is having that discernment to be able to say, look, is this me staying in my lane? Is this me, doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Or am I getting myself off in too many different directions? Okay. So that's just a reminder. We're going to do one more. I was going to be done, and they said, no, pick one more. We're going to pick one more. And this is Loyal Heart. This is card 35, which is 3 and 5 is 8. And Loyal Heart just reminds us that we're not alone. Loyal Heart reminds us that we are part of something bigger, right? That we are part of that collective. Oops, Instagram's having some issues. So Loyal Heart reminds us that we are part of something bigger, that we are part of this collective. You can see how they're connected, their tails, they're making the heart, they're sitting on the heart, that they're all connected. We are all connected. Our floats are going down the river together. And so what happens is going to be part of all of us. Whether for good or for not so good, we are all affected. Even if you live in Connecticut, we are all affected, and we are all part of it. So this is one earth, and one human race and one planet and one, I want to say, one life, but, I know that we have more than one life, I believe. I certainly have. But this is our one time in this body and our one time in this planet. And this is the time for us to remember that while we have our own boat or our own raft, that we are connected. We are all connected. The theory of the butterfly wings, like a butterfly flaps its wings in Africa and it causes a hurricane in Florida, right? So we are all connected, and it's so important for us to remember that. It's so important for us to remember that we are all connected. And the more we raise our energy up, the more we lift others with us along the way. Rising tides lift all boats. We just don't want the storm surge that goes with it. Okay. All right, so we will do some individual card readings now. So now it is first come, first serve. So if you had already put in a card request, it is null and void. And we will go back and forth between Instagram and Facebook, and we will do card readings, and we will do. We'll go for a little while. We'll see how long I can feel that connection to be able to go. I always try to get everybody in. We try. So Kathy Dunlap is the first. Okay. All right. Kathy Dunlap. This card is Soulmates. This is card 41. This is 4 and 1 is 5. So somewhere in the middle of your journey, and it's a reminder of somebody you're overlooking, somebody you're taking. How do I say taking for granted? And I'm not trying to be critical of you, my friend, but this is about remembering what's right in front of you. Sometimes we get so accustomed to what is going on, we just can't see the forest for the trees. The person who's been in our life so much, and soulmates does not necessarily a romantic partnership. This is not necessarily a romantic partnership, but it is an encouragement to take a really good look at what's going on with you, Kathy, to see, where are you overlooking somebody? Where are you, maybe looking past a relationship with somebody who is really important and is there to love and support you, that maybe is being taken for granted. And again, I'm not trying to say anything negative. It's just a reminder that comes through about, what relationship that is stronger than you think is being overlooked. And so this is just lost a soulmate. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry, my dear friend. And so then I will remind you that this card shows you that they're not lost. They're just not physically here right now. But it is also the encouragement that there is always another, because soulmate's different from twin flame. Twin flame, you have one. You have the yin and the yang, you have one twin flame. And we incarnate with the twin over and over again. But soulmates come in so many different forms that while you may have lost this soulmate, and my heart is with you, my friend, we have many soulmates. We have many soulmates. And so what was given to me was not about the loss, but what was given to me was about, sometimes we need that reminder to pick our head up and look around and see who's standing in the gap for us, who's trying to show us that they are that quiet strength when we feel like there is none. And so that may be where that's where I feel like this interpretation is showing you that while this soulmate may not be with you right now, but you are definitely not without soulmate. Okay? Just something different. Okay, so in order, so we have Michelle Krantz. And so I thank you so much for all your comments. We will go in order. And so Michelle Krantz, you have No Peace Like Home, and this is card 50, but it comes in upside down. So this, and I see you, Gina. It comes in upside down, so it's just a reminder again not to, and it comes back to the blinders, and not the blinders, the stay in your lane encouragement that, what you're looking for may not be as far away as you think. that it's the reminder that the things that we need may be closer in to our home space, to our inner circle than what we think. And sometimes we get caught up in looking for what, like Dorothy, right? In The Wizard of Oz, our heart's desire is not over the rainbow. It's that reminder that it's no place like home. There's no peace like home. And so this is the reminder to share some of that love and to share what's going on with you, that there are things that are inside of you that are unrest, that there are things that are unsettled within you, Michelle, to share those with the people who are closest to you so that you can create peace in the home. We don't need to hide ourselves away, that we can trust that inner circle and hopefully to be honest with the people around us, to let them know what we need. And this is often one of the biggest things, is we don't speak of what we need, and we just bury our needs so that everyone else's needs can be met. I'm so busy making sure you're okay that I'm not remembering that I need to be okay. And what do I need to be okay? And so this is that reminder to make sure you're putting self-care as the priority, that there should be peace, hopefully, in the house, in the home, and that those people should be part of it, that it's a group effort. Remember, our boats are all connected to each other. We're all floating together. And so that this is that reminder, Michelle, that if you are keeping your needs hidden, that you're not really serving the needs of the others. It really is about the balance of, yes, I want to make sure I'm taking care of home and hearth and family and all those things, but we need to make sure our needs for self-care are met as well. So whether that's, a little sleep in the morning, a walk, maybe a massage, maybe a self-vacation or a staycation to go by yourself, something to have that. Make sure that you are being honest with those that you can trust about what your needs are, and to be able to figure out how those can be met. Okay, so we're going to move on to Miss Chris Judd, and I hope that helps you, my friend. All right, we're going to go on to Miss Chris Judd, and then Malik will be next. And Chris, this card says New Life, and this is 39. And so 9 and 3 is 10, 11, 12. Yes, I have to do that. 12, 2 and 1 is 3. So really embarking on a new life. And I love the energy of this card so much, because look at her. She's like, yes, I win. Yes, I have achieved. I have reached the goal. Yes, yes, yes. And so this is new life. And so I know that there has been much that is working on shifting in your world. And so this is such a confirmation of going in the right direction and doing the right things, and that those things are coming together for you. New life, my friend. I think that is pretty self-explanatory. I love to pull a card like that for you. All right, Malik. We'll have a card for Malik. All right, we have, Malik. So this card also comes in upside down, truth be told. So this is 14, so 1 and 4 is 5. But this card also comes in upside down, which is that protection mode, which reminds you to take another look at this of what is it that you're not seeing? What is it that you are being unwilling to see, Malik? What is it that you maybe are not staying in your lane, but you're having your blinders on? You're not being interested in seeing, or seeing from another point of view, or seeing a situation that maybe that relationship is over and it's time to move forward or time to move on for your benefit, for the other person's benefit. There are things that I feel like are being, that we're not wanting to see. I've got this film over the window. It's this time of opening the window. It's a reminder to allow yourself to see what you have been unwilling to see, and to take a breath, and to be able to move forward. Okay, to be able to move forward. This is also about a directional shift for you, my friend. That there is definitely a change in the wind coming your way. That there is something that is going to shift you and to move you into a new direction. I feel like it is relationship based, as opposed to occupation or something like that. But I want you to know that it is for the best, and there is so much light that is beyond it. That if you can take the blindfold off and see the situation for the truth of it, there's so much light that's in front of it. Okay? All right, so Claudette, we're going to have you be next, but I'm going to shift to Instagram. We're going to get Gina a card. She's been waiting over there on the Instagram. And then we're going to come back to Facebook for Claudette. So we are going to... Ooh, some jumpers. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. I don't know what is going on with my phone. It's just not staying up on the... got this suction cuppy thing that keeps the phone stuck up onto my computer so I can talk to both of you, both places. So, all right, so we're going to get a different card because I'm not convinced that one was jumping because the phone was falling. So we want to make sure we're being an honest effort here. So this is going to be, to be fair. So 38, we've seen this card already, 38. So Gina, this is really about being able to listen and to see things from another's perspective and to really connect into that higher guidance and to be able to move forward in the way that's right for you, without feeling like you're having to compromise or sacrifice your needs for the other person that may be involved. But this is also about taking the blinders off and being willing to see things from a different perspective. And so I know we had talked about this. We had this card come up before. And so this is the card that comes up for you. I realized a while ago that I would take the cards and read them for you, and I would take them out of the deck and then put them to the side as you know, cards we were done with. But as so many more people have been coming on our lives, which is so exciting, that shrinks the pile of cards and information that the oracles and the angels and guides and stuff can communicate for people who are still waiting for a card reading. So I've taken to putting the cards all back in when we're done reading them. So we may see some of these repeats. Okay, so we're going to go to Claudette. And then we're going to have Louise O'Connor. All right, so Claudette, my friend, this is here and now. And so this is a reminder for you to stay present in the moment. This is a reminder for you to not let your head fly off into space, like the little egg is like flying off into space. It's a reminder for you to stay present with the people and the things that are going on around you. It is also a reminder not to carry something that is not yours to carry, but it is a reminder of being present. And it comes back to this higher message today of what we were talking about before about listening. And so this is this reminder. And here and now is number 32. So 3 and 2 is 5. And so again, it's kind of this middle of the road place of reminding you to stay present here and now, not worrying so much about what's going on 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 3 years from now, being able to stay present in the moment and allowing things to unfold. It's a reminder also for patience, because sometimes we get so caught up in like what's going on, you know, down the road, what's going to happen, what's going to be the outcome, I need to know, oh my God, don't leave me cliffhanging, and we forget to be present and to enjoy and observe and be grateful for the blessings that are in the moment. Okay. Okay. Louise. All right, Louise O'Connor. So this is serendipity. This is 18, so 1 and 8 is 9. So serendipity for you, my friend Louise. And so this is a reminder that there is no coincidence. There is definitely just the universe trying to get your attention, trying to show you what's possible, trying to help move your face to get your vision to help you see something that you're maybe missing. Not that you're being unwilling to see it, but you're just missing it. And so it is this reminder for you to lean in to those coincidences, to lean into those serendipitous events, because this is spirit is trying to be like, hey, hello, Louise, we're trying to talk to you. So this is a really important card, because we get so caught up with somebody else. We talked about being present here and now, and then we have, you know, other folks who are so concerned with the minutia of the here and now that they're not picking their head up to see what miracles and blessings spirit is trying to create around them. So Louise, this is that reminder that you are able to do that. So all right, Caroline Shire pops in at the deadline. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to do just a couple of important announcements that I want to share, and then we will I will be so excited to talk with you all again next week. And so Caroline, card for Caroline is Round and Round, card number 25. So 2 and 5 is 7. So this is sacred geometry, okay? This is sacred geometry. So even though it feels like you're going around and around, it feels like I've been here before. Why haven't I've learned this lesson? I've done this already. Why am I doing it again? We're learning things from a higher guidance. We're learning things from a higher perspective. And so this is this reminder that while you may be experiencing these same things again and again, that you are seeing them from a higher perspective, that you have a more education, you are wiser, you are more tuned in, more evolved, that as these things come around again for you. So don't, when things come around, we're like, ugh, why is this happening again? We immediately get into this energy of like, we don't want to deal with it because like, why the heck? I have already done this. And so this is this reminder that like, okay, you've already done it, but it still is, there's more here for you to learn. There's more here for you to understand. So try to be open to what is being shown and what is coming up for you, rather than feeling like, I don't want to deal with this. Okay. So this is just that reminder to be open for Caroline. Okay. All right. So Carol, all right, we're going to cut it off after Carol because we're getting closer to 5:30. We're going to cut it off after Carol. But I never like to say no. If you can get in here while I'm live, I always try to say yes. So we're going to say into Carol, and that will be the end for today, is new life. Carol, this is 39, and we've had this card come up again already today. So this is 39. So 9, 10, 11, 12. And 12 is 2 and 1 is 3. So this is really embarking on a new journey, a new life. And so we're really, this is just a celebration time. It's a celebration time of the blessings that have come, and not to overlook gratitude, but to really embrace the blessings, to embrace the joy, to embrace all the wonderful things that are part of this. So I want to thank you all so much for being here. I do want to tell you that while a lot of you know that I was part of the Own Your Awesome Speaker Summit, that was 12 different speakers that you could buy the videos. The summit is over now, and I am now free to release the video to you all. So I'm going to be putting that up on my Sherry Dworkin-Smith Learn, my educational website. You'll be able to find more information about that on my personal website. And again, we're going to have that video available for you on the on Thinkific, on the SherryDworkinsmithLearn.com. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is, and I've mentioned to some this a couple of times in the past, that I'm now certified as a grief educator. And so while we are going through this trauma of these storms and other things that are going on, if you are dealing with some kind of grief and trauma in your life, now I am not a therapist, but if you are feeling like there is grief, because we have grief from the loss of a loved one, but we have grief from other things, from transition, from arguments, from past traumas, from storms. We have grief from change. And if you are feeling like you are dealing with some grief and you need a little extra guidance, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It is absolutely my honor to help. And I want to thank you all so much for being part of our community of light and being part of our time together today. I'm so happy to see you all. Just as a reminder, please invite your friends to follow our page on Facebook and on Instagram, and share us. And when we hit 1,000, we are so close to 1,000 people. I can't even believe it on Facebook, that I will be giving away a free book. I will be giving away some readings as well. So please invite your friends to come and be part of our community of light. And as always, please remember how very much you are loved. Mwah. Have a great week. We'll see you Thursday for meditation.